Welcome back to the Tacomaholic channel, everybody. In today's video, we will be going over how to get your second-gen Tacoma into the 4x4 mode, 4 high, 4 low, and to engage your rear locker and when to use them. Now, obviously, if you've owned your Tacoma for a while, this video really isn't for you. This is really for the beginner Tacoma owner or someone maybe who's had their Tacoma for a while and hasn't really gotten into off-roading or found the need to use the 4x4. I see new Tacoma owners comment all the time asking honest questions about how to use their 4x4, and usually people just comment snide remarks, and I feel like sometimes people don't understand online when someone's joking or not. So today's video is targeted at you so you can have a safe place to get the information you need without worrying about getting flamed online for asking an honest question. Now, of course, all the information I'm going to go over today is in your Tacoma manual, and specifically what I'll be talking about is for second gens. I don't have a third gen. I've never driven a third gen, at least like in 4x4 mode, taken a few test drives. So I'm not exactly sure how to engage those systems. Maybe I can borrow one from a friend who has a third gen and do a follow-up video for that. So definitely read through your Tacoma owner's manual if you have one. Today I will be using an empty parking lot showing you how to engage all the different 4x4 modes, and I would actually recommend you do the same if you've never put your truck into the 4x4 mode before. Better to practice it in a safe, controlled environment versus going out to the trail the first time and sort of getting thrown into the fire. So find yourself a nice, safe, empty parking lot where you can drive straight in short bits of time to practice your 4x4 selection. Okay guys, here on the inside of the truck, again, I am in an empty parking lot, actually at a national park here. Well, not national park, sort of local park, I guess. Got the truck on in park currently. Quickly, we're gonna go over the 4x4 Selector Knob. Again, this is for second gen Tacomas. Here on the left, you can see this is the default position for your truck, H2, which stands for high 2. This pretty much means your truck is in rear wheel drive only all the time. This obviously has the least amount of traction, but uses the least amount of power, so you'll get the best fuel economy. This is what you want to keep the truck in when you are just driving around town in normal weather. Next up, right there in the middle, is the H4, which stands for high 4. This is the 4x4 setting that uses the least amount of power for higher speed four-wheel driving. I think you can use this up to 62 miles per hour, and you can actually switch to this on the fly. Or you could use this when driving around on paved roads in inclement weather, whether it's snowing, ice, or severe rainstorms. And lastly, on the right there is the L4, which stands for low 4. This is the 4x4 setting that's going to give you the most amount of power and traction. Using this for low speed four-wheel drive driving to get out of super slick like mud, deep snow, sand, stuff like that, maybe climbing or descending hills. And then lastly, over here to the right of the steering wheel,
left,
right there in the middle is the rear diff lock switch, which will lock your two rear wheel tires together, preventing spin. This is only supposed to be used in severe conditions where you are stuck, I think less than 5 miles an hour, and as soon as you have traction, you should stop and actually turn this off to avoid damage. For the next part, I'm just going to give you verbal instructions on how to switch from the H2, so that's just rear wheel drive, to H4, the lowest 4x4 setting while you are moving. I'm obviously sitting in the parking lot, so I'm not actually moving, but you can just switch this into the H4 position if you're going less than 62 miles an hour. If you want to switch from H2 to H4 from a complete stop, which is usually what I like to do, I just feel like it's safer. Again, I'm in park right now in my automatic transmission. Just make sure your foot is on the brake. Go ahead and put your vehicle into neutral, let it sit for just a second, and then just twist it over to H4, and you'll see right there it's flashing. It's going to show up the green 4x4 selector. Now, it usually flashes while you're in neutral, so just go ahead and pop it down into drive and it should kick on. And you can see mine went ahead and turned solid, which means the 4x4 system is engaged. If yours keeps spinning after you put it into drive, just sort of let the truck roll forward a little bit. You could also do it in reverse, I suppose, and usually it locks right in. For the next part, we are going to go from H4 to L4. Again, my truck is already in H4 since I just showed you that. It's currently in drive, so you want to go back to neutral, let it sit for just a second, and just like we did previously, get that to focus, go ahead and switch it. You got to push it in actually, and it says that right there, so push the switch actually in, and then go ahead and turn it to L4. And just like before, that 4 low indicator came on. If this is flashing, just pop it back into drive and roll forward a little bit, but mine looks like it engaged already, and you can usually feel it. It's hard to describe until you do it, but if it's flashing, just go ahead and put it down into drive, and then just roll forward until the 4 low icon is steady. Okay guys, for the next one, we are actually going to get into this rear locker switch. Get my camera to focus right there. So to actually lock the rear diff, you do have to be in L4, so don't try to do this when you're in high 4, and that's just a safety mechanism, I assume, since you're only supposed to use the rear locker when you're going slow, which is what L4 is. So when you're already in L4, make sure you are in neutral, foot on the brake, of course, and go ahead and hold the rear locker switch, push it, and just let it sit for a second. You can see it's flashing that red icon right there on the lower part of my dash. Get it to focus, and it has an X in the middle for the rear tires. When your rear diff is locked, this little red icon down here will continue to flash, and whenever you get out of the position you were in where you actually needed to use your rear diff locker, make sure you come to a complete stop. Again, put it into neutral, foot on the brake, and usually just pressing the switch one more time, focus there, push it once, and that will pop off. And to exit out of all the 4x4 modes back to regular rear wheel drive, it's just the reverse process. So again, make sure you're at a full stop, vehicle in neutral, foot on the brake. You can go from L4 like I'm in right now, push this in, turn it to the left. You don't actually have to push it for this. Putting it back into H4, make sure the icon pops off the dash right there. And then while foot's still on the brake, same thing from H4 to H2. And once the icon disappears, you are back in regular rear wheel drive. All right guys, that's gonna do it for this video. If you found it helpful, please comment below and let me know if you have any follow-up questions regarding to 4 high, 4 low, when you should use either one or the rear locker. Also, comment below. As always, thank you so much for supporting the channel by watching this video. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next video.